The document is split into two sections. Section A is going to be a new Netcare alarm standard. So the purpose of the audit is to really just take a list of all the equipment you have at your facility and see the current alarm state. So let's take a look at council mains water pressure fault. So I'm going to say you have one instance of that, bulk water tank. Yes, you've got a bulk water tank. You've got one of those, but you don't have any way of alarming 50% to 20%. You just have a standard or general alarm for bulk water tank. Then you can go to hospital domestic booster pumps. Maybe you have 2 or 3 at your facility. Domestic water, do you know when the water's going off? Yes, you've got domestic water and there's a way of knowing it's gone off. Would you know if your hospital's domestic water temperature goes below 50? Maybe it's a no. So you can go down initially making a list of all the quantities of these devices you have. If you leave it with a dash, it simply means you don't have it. So you don't have any hydrant system in your hospital or facility. You don't have a jockey pump. You don't have sprinkler tanks or sprinkler pumps. Now we get down to oxygen bulk. And then you can start going across the page. Now let's just talk about going across the page. It's either there's an alarm on and an alarm off, and I need to know whether it's a normally closed or normally open contact for that. So let's just take council, let's take one that I know is connected at a hospital. So let's go for nitrous oxide left and right cylinder banks. So I'll say yes, we have a left bank. Yes, we have a set of right banks, and yes, for nitrous, we know about line pressure failure. So those 3 are yes at my facility. Is it connected to the central alarm? So we're going to yes, it is. So we know it gets an audible alarm for both left and right. So all of these give us an audible alarm on the central alarm panel, but you may be getting an audible alarm from somewhere else. So that could just be a yes. Do you get a visual alarm? We do, for an on condition. And does it send an SMS for an on condition? Yes, it does. So that's the alarm status for all 3 of those alarms. And then we have, when it goes off, obviously the lamp goes from red to green. And generally, we know, not even if it's not to all the same groups, you will get an SMS to say the alarm is now off. So again, you can just put a yes in these columns, and that's what occurs from the alarm on. So it's audible and visual on, and when it goes off, it's just visual going back to green and sending an SMS notification. Now, generally all Netcare hospitals, through historical reasons, have their alarms currently at normally open. So you can generally default these to normally open for literally 100% of your alarms, unless you know that it's different. What does it mean by shared? Well, nitrous oxide and left and right are combined into a single alarm on the central alarm, so you're going to put in a yes for shared there. So there we are. That would be a typical way of filling in nitrous oxide, and it's going to be obviously very similar for NTNOx and very similar for carbon dioxide. And again, then we start getting to the world of vacuum. So in a quick nutshell, it's really a case of, do you get notification for on and do you get notification for off, and what configuration do you have at your hospital for an off condition? And at this stage, it's normally open. It'd be nice if it was normally closed, but it isn't. And a yes if you're sharing that alarm. And additional notes if you feel that not everything was covered by just ticking yes. So if there's something else you'd like to mention about that alarm, please put it under the additional notes. Then we get on to, because there's a lot of medicine fridges there, in the new spec, the pharmacy bulk freezer, bulk cold room, pharmacy fridge, they're all specified. But I know there's a lot of additional fridges throughout the hospitals. I've been into some theatres where there's a little bar fridge in the corner that is storing medicines. So you really need to go around the hospital and making a list of all the fridges you have, how many of them are connected to the central alarm currently. So I'll go for 5, and you found another 6 that aren't connected to any alarm system at all. So, or fridges storing pharmaceuticals, there are Then for those that are connected, it's going to be typically the same. Yes, yes, yes to these three. We get an SMS, or the pharmacy manager does. And again, the lamp goes from red to green when it's fixed, and they get an SMS to say fridge is now resolved. And in some cases, some fridges are shared. So it's a bit awkward there with normally open, normally closed, sorry. It's going to be a normally open condition for that fridge. So that lets us know the total amount on an alarm panel and the total amount of fridges not on an alarm panel. Lastly is section B, custom alarms, and there's been some interesting ones from milk freezer bank to manhole covers. So anything that's actual current alarm panel, or anything that's on your current alarm panel that is not covered in section A, whether it's additional generators, additional UPSs, manhole covers, as I've said, or anything that is a custom alarm, list it here, and obviously again put it down that it is on the central alarm panel. That's it really. It's just two sections: the future Netcare alarm standard and how closely you fit, and your custom alarms, or the alarms you already have on a central alarm panel that aren't covered in section A. So it's just section A and just section B. Most alarm panels allow you to have either a closed or an open state for an OK condition. So here we have two green lights on an alarm panel. But what it means is it can be that it's an OK position for the switch being open, or it could be an OK position if the switch is closed. Either of those will give us a green lamp on the alarm panel. The ideal world is normally closed, because then if we cut a wire we get an alarm. But unfortunately at the current alarm panel at Netcare it's configured for normally open. So again, we can either have it with a switch open or a switch closed to give us a green lamp. But we're going to configure them for normally open at Netcare. A shared device means, as in this example, we have 3 fridges in pharmacy, and instead of using up 3 alarm spots, they all go across the same cable. They share 2 wires all the way back to the central alarm.